Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to present my topic. Today, I'm going to present about the smart city policy in Korea. And my name is Jae-Yong Lee, and I'm working for the KRIS, Korea Research Institute for Human Settlements. That's actually the government supporting research institute. And my role is to support the smart city policy in Korea. And today's lecture is about the smart city policy in Korea. This course explained the evolution of Korean smart city policies, including how and why the government changed their policies in each different phases. In addition to the policy, the lecture also presents the specific strategies of Korean smart city. And this one is today's my presentation contents. At first, I want to present about the smart city concept in Korea. Each different country may need their own smart city concept if they want to start their smart city project. In the case of Korea, we have two different objectives. The first one is to solve urban problems, and the second one is to support new industry development by improving the effectiveness of urban function. And in the Korean smart city concept, we have three different components. The first one is about the technology, and the second one is governance and the legal system, and the third one is about the innovation things. Today, I'm going to explain these components one by one because the Korean smart city development is the process is to getting each different components. And when you look at the first part, the construction part, we may need the integrated technology. And after we got the many infrastructure and the services, we may need to manage and operate the smart city services. And in this case, you may need the integrated policy and the integrated legal system. And also you may need to integrated implementation body, not only the integrated technology. You also need to consider these two things. And the third one is about the innovation. How to you apply the innovation in the urban area. That's the final steps to get the successful smart city. And in this case, you may need the KPI and the testing area, and you also need to consider about the creation of innovative services. And I'll explain about the first phase of Korean smart city. The Korean smart city starts in 2003. That's the very earlier than any other country's smart city project. At first stage, the Korean government started how to integrate the urban infrastructure with the ICT, the information and communication technology. After you got the urban infrastructure with the ICT, you will get the intelligent facility. In here, the intelligent facility means each different the urban infrastructure will get their own intelligence. So these urban infrastructure can monitor their own situation or their the urban environment. So that's actually the first stage of the Korean smart city. Korean government constructed the many different the intelligent infrastructure, and in addition to the construction of the intelligent infrastructure, Korean government also prepared the legal system and R&D and the UCT model, and also raise the human resources. And the Korean government have the smart city or legal system. That's actually the first smart city legal system in the world, as far as I know. And government also consider about the technology part. So they start the smart city R&D from the 2009 to 2013, and the government invest the money around the $100 million. And after finishing the first R&D, the government directly started the second R&D from the 2013. And from these R&D, the Korea has many cutting edge technology of smart city. And after develop the technology, the government applied this technology to the urban area. That's a test bed part. And also the government supports the universities to raise the master and the doctor students of smart city. And one important thing to construct the smart city is about the funding. And in Korea, we use the development profit from the new urban development project. And the development gains from the land development project. And in the case of the smart city part, the average cost of the smart city construction is around $13 million. And in the case of the first phase of the Korean smart city, the government constructed the operation center and the many service facilities and the others. And when you look at the pictures, nowadays the many Korean local governments has their own urban operation center like these pictures. And the many Korean local governments already have the many different the intelligent facility, especially the transportation and the crime prevention part. And after we got the many different services and infrastructures of smart city, the next step was to integrate these different services and the infrastructure, just like these pictures. As I said before, at this time, many local governments already has their own the operation center, but the problem was they just operate separated the services. They did not consider about the service integration. For example, the transportation system serve only the transportation services like that. So the government considered that how to integrate, for example, the transportation services with the crime prevention services like that. So we consider about some integrated services because it's cost-effective services. And for this procedure, we need to consider about the information and the system integration. But when the government started the information and system integration, they just realized that not only the technology integration is enough to operate the integrated services. They also need to consider about the integrated the agency. That's kind of the governance issue. And the other thing is they also need to consider about the legal system, because at this time each legal system controlled each different and separated services. Therefore, we need to manipulate some legal system to get the integrated services. So the government started the smart city program about how to integrate each different agencies together. So that's a kind of the cooperation and the governance part. And the government also, the central government also manipulated some legal system, which can be the obstacle of the smart city integrated services. So the not only system integration, but also organization cooperation can be the key factor at this time. And after 2019, actually the last year, Korea constructed the one important the national plan about the smart city. That's actually under the legal system. And at this time, the Korean government realized that the smart city can be the very important the government issue to raise the new industry and to solve the problems. So from this time, government start invest a lot of money to the smart city project, and they also created many different programs. The first part is they applied the smart city policies in different the city. For example, they categorize the different type of cities. The first one is a new city, and the second one is existing city. So they use the different approaches, which is suitable for new city or which is suitable for existing city. And the second part is about the infrastructure building. The government also spend a lot of money to the R&D to getting the cutting edge technology of a smart city. And they also consider about the urban platform. So they supported, the central government supported the local governments to get the urban platforms. And also the central government support the human resource development. And the third strategy is about the ecosystem for innovation. And as I said before, the legal system is important to getting the integration of systems or services or something like that. So the central government adopt some better legal program. It's what we call the regulatory sandbox. So some in specific areas, the government use this program. So without the regulation, some in specific area, the local governments or the private sectors contest their technology without considering the regulation. And governance is still important, and the government also consider about the global networking also. So I will explain one by one. And in the case of the new city part, the government choose two new cities. The one is Sejong and the other one is Busan. And in this area, the central government applied very comprehensive the services. For example, in Sejong, from the mobility to some kind of culture and the job creation. They consider the very comprehensive ways to getting the very high level the smart city. And for example, in Sejong, they choose the transportation as a very specialized services in this area. So not like the current modern city, they choose the non-car possessed area. So they designated only sharing car district and offer the smart mobility services inside the district. So in this district, the people cannot own their own car. They just only use some kind of futuristic smart mobility. That's the kind of new concept of smart city, and they tested in this area with the citizen. And also, the Busan is also the new city type smart city project. In Busan also, they applied many different new high technology, from the robot system to the different water infrastructure. And in the case of a new city, it is easier to apply the new infrastructure or new technology in there. However, in the case of the existing city, it is very difficult when we compare with the new city part. So in this case, we use competition and the cooperation, the program to getting to solve the problems in the existing city area. So the local governments cooperate with the private company, and they make their own proposals. And the central government evaluate their proposals, and after that they select the several very nice proposals first, and the central government support money. That's actually the first step. And not only the proposal, the central government want to see the result of the existing smart city services. So some selected the local governments and the private companies create and construct their own services in their area. And after 1 year, the central government evaluate again about the result of their constructed services. So in this case, the central government can evaluate not only the proposal, but also the service result. And after competition, competition with the service result, government support a lot of money to get their own services in their area. And I explain about the new city project and the existing city project. And we also, the government, central government also consider about the platform. Platform is a very important infrastructure in smart city. So many local governments already has their own operation center. However, this one is just the physical building. They need some kind of software to connect many separated the service part. So that's the platform. The function of platform is to connect the different services. The central government support the money to get this kind of platform. Therefore, total of 229 local governments will get this kind of the the smart city platform by 2023. And the Korean government, when they started the smart city project, they considered about the raising human resource. At the first part, the central government supported the 4 universities, and nowadays they support the 6 different universities to raise the master and doctoral students. And governance is also important, as I said before. The central government realized that during the second phase, the technology, if they want to integrate the technology, the organization integration is also important. Therefore, they use some governance program, and in the case of the legal system, they choose the regulatory sandbox. After they get the governance and the regulatory sandbox, it is much easier to apply the innovation in the urban area. Today, I briefly explain about the Korean smart city policy. Actually, the Korean smart city policy evaluated 3 different phases. In the case of the first phases, the Korean government constructed the smart city infrastructure first. After they getting the smart city infrastructure, they start the functional interconnection with using the platform. And nowadays, not only the infrastructure or platform, they also consider the many different innovative ways, such as a regulatory sandbox, and they classify the 2 different cities type and apply the suitable strategy to each different city type. And they also raise the human resource things. Therefore, nowadays, the Korean government has a lot of different the smart city program, and that's actually started from the last year. Therefore, we still try to develop the smart city. Thank you so much.